Busy people are often the most lazy. We've all heard stories of a businessman who works hard to earn money. He works hard to be a good provider for his wife and children. He spends long hours at the office and brings work home on weekends. One day he comes home to an empty house. Okay, good morning, everybody, and we are ready for some Rich Dad Poor Dad. Today we are reading a chapter called Overcoming Laziness. So, do any of you ever feel that you are lazy and do not get enough done? Then today's chapter should be extremely helpful. Let's get into it. Let's get you motivated and ready to achieve some great things today. Busy people are often the most lazy. We've all heard stories of a businessman who works hard to earn money. He works hard to be a good provider for his wife and children. He spends long hours at the office and brings work home on weekends. One day he comes home to an empty house. His wife is left with the kids. He knew he and his wife had problems, but rather than work to make the relationship stronger, he stayed busy at work. Dismayed, his performance at work slips, and he loses his job. And the interesting thing is that he thinks that by working harder and harder, and this could be reversed as well, it could be a woman who is working too hard with a man who stays at home, or a woman who is working too hard with a husband who also works too hard, or who works a little bit less hard and actually comes home on time. But the point being that the person thinks that they are solving the issue by working harder and earning more money, and that relationship just keeps eroding away further and further. And rather than the money solving the issue, we need to learn to find where the challenge is and fix the challenge rather than see if we can throw money at the challenge. Money isn't always the solution to every challenge. So even if the relationship has issues because of the money issues, sometimes you need to put some focus on the relationship first, which allows you to feel better and you to actually get everything off your chest around what the actual problem is. It might not, if you might think it's money, it might be a story you're telling yourself that it's money, but it may not actually be money. And then when you have a discussion about it, you feel better, and then you can actually work on the finances, and the relationship is better, which means that you feel better and you're actually able to get ahead financially, as opposed to that relationship is dragging you down, which only makes the finances more challenging, and that hard work doesn't actually lead to any results, which makes the relationship even worse. Today, I often meet people who are too busy to take care of their wealth, and there are people too busy to take care of their health. The cause is the same. They're busy, and they stay busy as a way of avoiding something they do not want to face. Nobody has to tell them. Deep down, they know. In fact, if you remind them, they often respond with anger or irritation. If you tell this person the truth about what is causing their issues, they will get upset because they know that this is what's really causing the issue. But they just mask it by continuing to work and work and work and work, even though work isn't getting them anywhere because they're not feeling good, because there is an issue somewhere else that hasn't been addressed. If they aren't busy at work or with the kids, they're often busy watching TV, fishing, playing golf, or shopping. Yet deep down, they know they're avoiding something important. That's the most common form of laziness. Laziness by staying busy. So what is a cure for laziness? The answer is a little greed. For many of us, we were raised thinking of greed or desire as bad. Greedy people are bad people, my mom used to say. Yet we all have inside of us this yearning to have nice, new, or exciting things. We have to reward ourselves when we've done something right. We need to find the time to take care of ourselves. So it doesn't have to be things necessarily. It could be a massage. It could be taking the time to go for a walk. Sometimes I find myself working and working, and I think, oh, I still haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve. I'd like to go for a walk. I need to get outside. I haven't been outside all day. And then rather than going for a walk, I keep at it and I keep working. And the brain is getting tired of all of this task that I'm working on. So you just need to bite the bullet. Unless you've got a deadline that's like really, really urgent and you're going to get in trouble if you don't do it. But usually that's not the case. There's a lot of things that we do that just do not really matter in the big picture of things. So you just take a break, you go for a walk, you bite the bullet, you do it, and your brain is refreshed. And when you come back, you have more ideas, you feel more energetic towards this task. And that's the way to do it. So to keep that emotion of desire under control, often parents find ways of suppressing that desire with guilt. So we have guilt around going for that walk, for example, rather than continuing to work and work and work. We just need to go for that walk. There's no guilt around it. There should be no guilt around it. Don't have that guilt around it. Go out for that walk. Go out and do something nice, and you'll feel re-energized and you'll have more energy and you'll be able to get more done towards that task you're working on than you did if you wouldn't have taken that break. You only think about yourself. So you know you have brothers and sisters. It's one of my mom's favorites. You want me to buy you what? Was a favorite of my dad. Do you think we're made of money? You think money grows on trees? It's actually just all behind me, isn't it? If you're on Zoom. Bigger, you've got my whiteboard behind me. On Zoom, I actually have like a background of coins. Do you think money grows on trees? We're not rich people, you know. It wasn't so much the words, but the angry guilt trip that went with the words that got to me. Or the reverse guilt trip was the, I'm sacrificing my life to buy this for you. I'm buying this for you because I never had this advantage when I was a kid. I have a neighbor who is stone broke, but can't park his car in his garage. The garage is filled with toys for his kids. Those spoiled brats get everything they ask for. I don't want them to know the feeling of want, our everyday words, is nothing set aside for their college or his retirement. His kids have every toy ever made. He recently got a new credit card in the mail and took his kids to visit Las Vegas. I'm doing it for the kids, he said with great sacrifice. Rich Dad forbade the words, I can't afford it. In my real home, that's all I heard. Instead, Rich Dad required his children to say, how can I afford it? He believed that the words, I can't afford it, shut down your brain. It didn't have to think anymore. How can I afford it? Opened up the brain and forced it to think and search for answers. But most importantly, he felt the words, I can't afford it, were a lie. And the human spirit knows it. The human spirit is very, very powerful, he would say. It knows it can do anything. By having a lazy mind that says, I can't afford it, a war breaks out inside of you. Your spirit is angry, and your lazy mind must defend its lie. The spirit is screaming, come on, let's go to the gym and work out. And the lazy mind says, but I'm tired. I worked really hard today. Or the human spirit says, I'm sick and tired of being poor. Let's get out there and get rich. Which the lazy mind says, rich people are greedy. Besides, it's too much bother. It's not safe. I might lose money. I'm working hard enough as it is. I've got too much to do at work anyhow. Look at what I have to do tonight. My boss wants it finished by morning. I can't afford it also causes sadness, a helplessness that leads to despondency and often depression. How can I afford it? Opens up possibilities, excitement, and dreams. So Rich Dad was not concerned about what we wanted to buy, as long as we understood that how can I afford it creates a stronger mind and a dynamic spirit. And over time, you start to realize what does work and what doesn't work, what does excite you and what doesn't. When you've bought hundreds of toys, you realize that what you really want in life is experiences. There is a very famous experiment where children were locked up in a house together and they had every desire they could possibly want. There was chocolate in the house. So they had cupboards and there was like back doors to the cupboards. And so the children were completely alone, no adults, and they would replenish everything. So the fridge was full of chocolate and lollies and all this stuff that kids like. I don't even know what kids like. So anything bad, they had it. And there was fruit and vegetables and there was everything that they could possibly imagine. It was like the Garden of Eden for children. And every night, whatever the kids ate, it was replenished. So they couldn't even finish all the chocolates. There would be new chocolates waiting for them the next morning. And the kids had a field day. Obviously, on the first day, they just stuffed themselves with chocolate and lollies and sweets and cake and everything that they loved. But after about 3 or 4 days, the kids realized that they were feeling absolutely sick of eating all of this sugar and all of this rubbish. And so after about the 4th day, they started to eat fruits and vegetables. And their natural instinct kicked in to eat the right food because their body knew that they were feeling sick. And the only way for them to start feeling better was to actually start eating proper food. And so we do the same. So we might think that when we get wealthy, we're just going to buy stuff that we don't need and we're going to go absolutely crazy. But after a while, you start to realize this isn't really filling the void. Some people never learn that lesson, but most of us will learn that lesson. So we start buying things and, oh, didn't really get that much from it, or it only lasted for a very short period of time. And then you can start doing things for others. You can start getting experiences for yourself. So you might do something which isn't naturally going to deplete the Earth's resources, but that gives you an experience. You might go horse riding. You might do something that reinvigorates your spirit. Or you might start giving to a charity, or you might start setting up a charity, or you might do something which is good for somebody else. So money has its advantages. You can do amazing things with it. Some people are going to go out and do crazy things, but some of us are very quickly going to learn that it doesn't fill the void, and we are going to fill ourselves with really good things, experiences, and support other people in the process. And I'm just going to quickly have a look. Mladen wrote something, but it's behind my phone. The story sounds to me, it's about ignorance and fear, not laziness. So yes, it is a little bit more about ignorance and fear, but at the same time, it's also about it's okay, and we need to be a little bit lazy. We have this tendency to think that we shouldn't be lazy at all, but really, we need a little bit of that laziness in order to be able to recharge the batteries and to be able to ask the right questions and start focusing. But yes, definitely about ignorance and fear as well, and how we've been conditioned. Our parents taught us that being rich is bad because we're going to only buy toys. Whereas what we really need to learn to understand is that we're also going to do good things with it, and that will automatically start to happen if we don't fight that feeling that we need to do that. Very deep today, isn't it? Very, very deep. Here we go. Thus, he rarely gave Mike or me anything. He would instead ask, how can you afford it? And that included college, which we paid for ourselves. It was not the goal, but the process of attaining the goal that he wanted us to learn. There is so much to get from putting in the time and the effort to achieve something, not just getting it the easy way. We actually learn from the process, not from the actual having or what we get out of it very often. A new sports car is not going to give us anything, but the process of desiring it, working towards it, we may even work towards it and achieve some great results and not even want to buy the sports car at the end. But we stop ourselves from achieving the financial goal. We stop ourselves from the growth and the learning of becoming a better person by saying that it's wrong to desire the sports car. Work towards a sports car and then evaluate. Once you have the money for it, do I still want it? Maybe I'll give it to charity instead. There is some really amazing things that can come from the desire of something, and it doesn't necessarily have to come to fruition, but we hold ourselves back. Yesterday, I watched an amazing TED Talk by Darren Brown, which I think was done about two years ago. And in this TED Talk, he talked about the fact that all we do in our lives is tell ourselves stories. And those stories come from the experiences we've had, our parents, things that we've experienced growing up. And very often they hold us back from amazing things in our lives, from experiences, from being able to do good to others. And we think that what we originally wanted was wrong, but attaining that is actually the journey that gets us to the experiences and the amazing things that we needed in our lives. The problem I see today is that there are millions of people who feel guilty about their desire or their greed. It's old conditioning from their childhood. While they desire to have the finer things that life offers, most have been conditioned subconsciously to say, I can't have that, or I'll never be able to afford that. When I decided to exit the rat race, it was simply a question of how can I afford to never work again? And my mind began to kick out answers and solutions. The hardest part was fighting my parents' dogma. We can't afford that. Stop thinking only about yourself. Why don't you think about others? And other similar sentiments designed to instill guilt, to suppress my greed. So how do you beat laziness? Once again, the answer is a little greed. It's that radio station, WIIFM, which stands for What's in it for me. A person needs to sit down and ask, what would my life look like if I never had to work again? What would I do if I had all the money I needed? Without that little greed, the desire to have something better, progress is not made. Our world progresses because we all desire a better life. New inventions are made because we desire something better. We go to school and study hard because we want something better. So whenever you find yourself avoiding something, you know you should be doing, then the only thing to ask yourself is, what's in it for me? Be a little greedy. It's the best cure for laziness. Too much greed, however, as anything in excess can be, is not good. But just remember what Michael Douglas said in the movie Wall Street: greed is good. Rich Dad said it differently. Guilt is worse than greed, for guilt robs the body of its soul. I think Eleanor Roosevelt said it best: do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway. You'll be damned if you do, and damned if you don't. So, to me, this chapter as well is about how we've been conditioned. And if we want to achieve something, there are certain things we think are wrong, and we don't have to go in that direction. We can go in a different direction to achieve the same. It's about the process. It's about finding what it is that lights our fire and how we can do good in the world. And it might be starting a business and achieving success through it. And we might think we want that sports car, but really what we want is the idea of that sports car. We get the money for that sports car, and then we can do all sorts of other things with it. We don't have to get that sports car. We can get the sports car and find out, well, I'm actually quite bored with this. Sell the sports car and use the money for something else. We can aim for the sports car, get that money, and already know that when we get that money, we're going to do something else with it. Or for some people, the sports car is amazing. And then when you've gotten all of the toys and you've fulfilled that part of your life, then you realize that it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, or you no longer need those things, and you start getting experiences for yourself, or you start doing good for other people. So we look at sometimes the biggest billionaires and their philanthropy, and there are a lot of articles that talk about the fact that they actually make more money from their philanthropy. But there are also examples of people who are not in the limelight or not at the head of the Forbes rich list who have a different form of philanthropy. There's a very interesting series, and I used to watch it a lot, and I haven't watched it for a while. I'll see if I can find it and put it on my Facebook at some stage today, or on the Instagram. I'll put it on the Instagram because I usually give my Instagram details to everybody at the end of these videos. So I will put it on the Instagram. I will go out and find it and put it on the Instagram. It's a video about, it's a homemade documentary. It's a video about a man who had a different philosophy around philanthropy. It is extremely interesting. So I would love for you to watch that and give me your thoughts. So we're going to leave it at that. We're at the next chapter for tomorrow, which is overcoming bad habits. I'm going to leave you to it. If you'd like to watch more of those videos, please join us at the Passive Cash Flow Club. Subscribe. We started putting out some new videos on whether you should get a credit card. And I'm going through with the Cash Flow Club at the moment to find out what kind of questions they have, what kind of topics they would like to know about investing. I'm going to start making more videos around those things. So join us at the Passive Cash Flow Club. If you'd like to know more about cash flow, if you would like to know that video that I was just telling you about, that little mini documentary on philanthropy and how that could inspire you based on today's chapter, then please go to Instagram. You'll find us at business_team_6_official. And I can get my VA to send you the details of the cash flow, and especially the online version that we have running, which is amazing. It has more realism and will give you more tools without losing money that you can practice and implement things that you want to learn about investing without any risks in complete safety. So feel free to get in touch on Instagram around that, and check out my Instagram because I'll make sure that at some stage today we'll do a post with a link to that video on philanthropy that I was telling you about. So go out, have a great day, go out and think about what you really desire and use that as a catalyst to go out and achieve great things for yourself. Figure out whether there are changes and other experiences that you want to achieve instead of some of those material things you might want, and then have a think about what you might be able to do to give back to society and create amazing things for others who may not have the fortune of being able to find these videos and learn the lessons in order to be able to achieve their goals and dreams, and maybe you can help them to do that. So I'm going to leave you to it. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. for another reading.